Hey, I'm back. Wait for it. Wait for it.
I called it. I freaking nailed it, dude. Earlier this episode, I said I was gonna lose internet, and here we are.
Here we are. Well, we've recovered. We're back.
Is this still streaming? Do I have to?
Uh, Stream went down, but it came back up.
Wow, wow. Yeah, it says I'm
Um,
still streaming. So if everything looks good, then
yeah,
well,
and
that was
we're
ridiculous.
reversed order in the pictures, but you can fix that if you want. I don't really care one way or the other.
Boom.
So I was saying, I had the shandy, but they had on. We went to Applebee's. We had another much like my Mother's Day. We had a family dinner, and they had a New Holland had a rose beer. I can't remember what it was called, but I mean it tasted like you could have told me it was Bartle and James. It tasted like a wine cooler. It was like really sweet, really. It was very interesting. But
Hmm.
the point I wanted to make is I think I definitely want to stress it for next year for Jess is for Mother's Day. It's I want you to just do whatever you want. If you want to not be with me and Aiden, you go do that. I think more about being have the time to do something you want to do because we were gone for during Mother's Day. We had to visit. Here's my question for you: is when is Father's Day or a Mother's Day or Father's Day about when can you be selfish with it and it can be about you as a parent instead of trying to visit a grandparent, your parents, her parents. It's just
Right.
you're trying to scrunch all this into and you're exhausted and you just you're so drained and plus you're traveling with a small child and it's just it's ugh, it's no bueno. It's no bueno.
It is no
So
bueno.
it's tough. So
I had to make
um
that sacrifice over the weekend. You know, we didn't really do anything at our house, so she
yeah,
did make
I
me
think
breakfast, and it was delicious. But
we left on Saturday and we are gone overnight and um yeah, so next year, we're gonna make it better. We're gonna make it better next year. But it's cool to have. I don't know. Father's Day still feels weird to me. Yeah, this is my second one, but it's just I don't know. It's like a weird day. It's just another day still, but it's special.
I,
I don't
yeah,
know.
no, I know what you mean
I don't know.
because I don't know. I feel like as a father, I don't do enough to need a day, I guess. But I mean, I appreciate it, but I don't do well with compliments and that type of thing. So I'm just uncomfortable by a lot of it. So just oh, okay, thanks. Yep, I had a kid. Thank you for recognizing that.
I just want to share with you
Some
this
nudes.
awesome. Yeah, look at this. I want to share with you this awesome screen cap I have of myself.
Share screen.
I'm sharing my screen with everyone.
My
Look at that.
God, what is going on there?
I don't know.
I like it.
um, yeah. So it's here. It's gone. It's. I will say that I did. Was nice is, it's nice to visit family. I guess that's the thing, and it's nice having Jess's dad back home again because I know.
Yeah, he was
Texas,
gone for a
that was
really
hard
long
for him.
time,
So,
wasn't he?
yeah, about a year and a half. So,
Wow.
it's
Wow.
gotta be tough. Your first and only grandchild to be away like that and everything. And I'm trying. I realize this every time when I actually watch something. But when I take the time and I watch a show for myself, man, I really wish I watched Netflix more often. But man, how do you juggle? How do you juggle that? How do you juggle game time or media time? I don't know how people do it.
I just do whatever's grabbing my attention and just say
Yeah,
screw it. I know if I try to do something because I need to do it, then it becomes a chore and then I don't want to do it. So, but
yeah,
I've talked about before how I go in Sometimes I'll be super
You'll
movie
go,
focused, and then
yeah.
other times I'll be super game focused.
Well, what really brings this up to me is like I saw the advertisement. It's like Marvel's Luke Cage season 2, and I was like, shit.
Where have I been?
Like, I haven't watched Punisher. I haven't watched The Defenders. I haven't watched Jessica Jones season 2. Uh, ugh,
Yeah.
I don't even know. I mean, I guess. I mean, there's always games you'll get gravitated to. Like for a while there, like all I was playing was Brawlout, and now I'm probably not. I don't really play that anymore. Now I'm like consumed by Hollow Knight, but that's going to come to an end soon, and then that'll be gone. But then it's like, if I'm, especially now because it's everyone's favorite thing right now is Fortnite. So
Yeah.
people always like, oh, you want to play Fortnite? I'm like, okay, because it's like we've talked about this. We talked about it. I remember having a text conversation. He was like, have you had any desire to play any battle royale game ever? And you're like, nope, it's dumb. And I was like, yep. And now I was like, that was really fun.
Well, because
So
it's the only games that
I'm a big phony.
it's the only games we can play with other people. So
It's
you
true.
know that I honestly I wouldn't play. I haven't played Fortnite since that night. So
I played it one other
nonstop.
time. I played it another night. I played it with Kevin and I played it with Matt at night. I played duos. Those guys. It was fun.
Nice.
I mean, I've been like, I don't know. This is more what you play and talk, really. So I don't want to go down
save it.
too far down that road. I know. I better save it. So, yeah, man. I mean, things are good right now. It's like summer. You know, it feels like summer's here. It's hot. Like everyone's busy doing stuff. It's hard to like focus doing any one thing. Times are crazy. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. We've got a mixer. Do you guys know that? Kind of works. Kind of doesn't. I need a new chair. This thing's really uncomfortable. So you should probably just PayPal me all your money. I'll buy a chair. No, I'm kidding. I can talk about this. I had my mid-year work evaluation
Ooh.
this week. So that was interesting.
And what does
got a
that
bonus.
entail?
Well, we have the same questions, basic questions for mid-year and late year. You know, how do you feel about your current role? How do you feel about your current role? You know, how can we improve the culture? How the basic.
I feel like you could give me a
company-
raise. I feel like you could give me a raise. That's just the answer
Right.
to every.
Right. And like we're in a really interesting position for myself now because when I came on board, I've talked about my job and what I do, on here before. But when I came on board, there were 12 employees. Now we've got like 30. So I do a whole lot of stuff, but then I do the really time-consuming service stuff because I get a commission off that. So I'm driven to the service stuff because I want the commission. And we ran numbers from June of last year to May of this year. So 1 year of numbers for every department. So just to give people like a measuring stick of how they're doing. So to compare, we only have 2 other people that are like full-time service stuff. That's what they do. I do double what they do. I do more than they do combined, plus all my other duties. So I handle a huge volume of the stuff. But now it's at the point where that keeps me too busy sometimes where I can't really effectively do the other stuff I need to do, or I couldn't just take on some other things or random things because I have this, as I like to say, I have something that's chaining me to my desk. I have something that I have to be present and open for and available for to do because everything in logistics is really time sensitive and you got to really jump into it and do things when they come up.
Mm-hmm.
So now that's the interesting thing that my bosses are going to have to do now and exciting for me because now it's time to say, okay, what is my role? It's time we got to start catering, cutting into what I do and kind of specialize my role a little more. And then when it comes down to it, it's like my boss doesn't want me to go backwards in compensation. So it's like, how am I compensated fairly for that? What are my duties going to be? So hopefully it means that I'll have an increased base salary, so I don't have to worry about the commission as much anymore. So that'll be nice. And maybe I'll get figuratively like a raise on top of it because that'd be really nice because I've got a ton of crap to pay for. But I got a commission. I mean, I got a bonus, so that's nice because that'll pay for the trip that we had put on the credit card in August. So, because we're just going to Mackinac Island, where we're going up
Mm.
north like we always do, but we're going to stay on an island at one of the nicer places there for one night. So it's not like we got this huge vacation plan. Don't freak out, guys.
1 week in Palm Beach. I don't know.
But I don't know.
Sandals.
Like we talked for like an hour and a half. It was a long conversation. So I mean, it was good. But I mean, it's so weird because my bosses were my coworkers at a previous job. So it's weird the rapport and the levels we're on. It's not like I don't feel like I'm talking to a boss or anything like that. It's always different. I don't know.
How many beers were drank in this meeting?
Yeah, yeah. That's only on Fridays.
Mm.
That was a Tuesday, so that doesn't line up. Doesn't line up at all.
Dang.
Doesn't line up at all, my friend. Just doesn't do it. How are you feeling like a week out from E3? Still excited? Disappointed?
I mean, I feel about as excited as I was before E3,
Yeah.
so
I mean, I feel like the problem is like everything that you've probably excited for, you don't even know when it's going to come,
right.
So it's like, what do I do?
I am glad that they are announcing or releasing at least a little bit more Cyberpunk stuff, even if it's like today we got this is the hardware that some lucky folks got to see a running demo on. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that at least gives me some idea of how it's going to perform on my own machine somewhat, because it's an Intel and an NVIDIA card, so it doesn't really translate that well. But
yeah,
but their games are typically somewhat scalable, so that always helps.
Yeah. PC gaming just feels so foreign to me. I feel like I haven't done it in forever. But there's like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about. Like I've always heard people that were primarily a console gamer, and they're like, I work at a desk all day. I don't want to come home and sit at a desk. And well, I would be sitting at my desk if I play this. I don't know. There's something about like I feel like it just takes so much more effort to me to play my PC now. And even if I'm at home, I try to play the Switch dock down here, but that just seems so much more relaxed and easier to pull off than trying to fire up my PC. I don't know what it is. So that means I'll probably never finish. I'll never finish Dead Space. I'll never finish Dragonfall.
Well, that's why I wanted to get that chair and stuff to somewhat alleviate that problem, because there are times where I don't mind if I'm playing a first-person shooter. I want to be at the desk because I need that mouse and keyboard. But I've been playing Fallout, and I'll talk about that later. But I don't mind playing that with a keyboard or a gamepad and other things as well. So as long as I'm not constantly coming down here and just sitting at my desk and switching back and forth, I can alleviate that to a certain degree. But I do agree that it is a little bit daunting to want to sit in an uncomfortable computer chair at a desk.
Man, I can't wait to take this basement back. I can't wait to get rid of those boxes, man. I'm gonna have to I think I'm just gonna have to load them up and do like a dump off. Like go drive to my old apartment and just throw them in the dumpster.
You probably get shot there.
I mean, this is probably like another 3 pickups worth to get out of here.
Yeah.
And I'm part of the problem with gaming, because guess what? When Hyper Light Drifter comes to Switch, I'll probably try to get it again. When Grim Fandango comes to Switch, I'm probably going to get it again.
Old games are old.
When something else. One other game that's getting released comes to Switch, probably gonna get it again. It's like, part of the problem here.
Didn't we just talk about liking what you like and trying something new? You gotta try something new.
Well, I am liking what I like. What's the problem here?
But you could like more things.
I did try something new. I'm playing Fortnite.
That's true, and you liked it.
Mm-hmm.
You sick son of a bitch! How dare you?
How
dare you like a game?
I gotta play everything I can right now, because in December, I'm pretty much just playing Smash Brothers for the rest of the time.
That is true. There are some things coming on the horizon that. Well, there you go. That's one thing you're definitely excited for. I would say.
For sure. I mean,
I'm even excited for it to a certain degree.
There's most days when I'm like, man, I wish I could play it, but not I'm not to the point where I don't think I want to buy it for the 3DS, and I'm definitely not gonna buy a Wii U again. And there's been a lot of times that I do regret having to get rid of the Wii U. But if I wouldn't have, I was traded in the Wii U, I wouldn't have had the Switch. So I mean, that's a no brainer at
You
that
made
point.
the switch, and it was
Yeah.
good.
Or I would have had just the Switch itself and no games.
Oh, that would have been great.
I mean, that'd be horrible. That'd
It's
be
a
a horrible
display piece for
experience.
your mantle.
Yeah.
Here's a console that I could play if I had any games.
Lucas, people are dying to know: are you gonna throw the dice on this Donnie's $25 Pro controller?
Well, I don't know because I'm worried. I wanted to be able to use another controller with the computer, but then I found out that it only works in if it's tethered. It doesn't work in wireless like Xbox One does. So at first I was on the computer. So at first, I mean, and granted, I probably won't even need it that often, but at first I was like, well, I want to be able to use a wireless controller with the computer so that because it's nowhere near my TV. You know, my TV's like 8 feet away. But the other problem is that I have my Switch docked far away from the TV too. So I couldn't use a wired controller really, unless it was like, again, 8 feet long cord and then Cody walks on it and destroys everything.
Why would you have to use it wired on your TV?
For the Switch, you mean?
Yeah.
If it was a wired controller, I'm just saying.
Oh.
I wouldn't have to. I wouldn't have to, but I was considering it because of how much cheaper it was.
Yeah.
But with this knockoff one, I mean, that was the other question was, would I rather get a wired first party controller? You know what I mean? So that's why.
Yeah.
But I think I probably will end up going that route, but it scares me because they're talking about how it didn't work right and all this other stuff.
Does this pick up on the mic?
Yeah.
That's part of my Pro controller. And I don't know why. Like, there's the plastic, I don't know, the casing right here.
Mm-hmm. It's like loose.
I guess you can't I don't see it move, but like when I noticed when I was playing Fortnite, it like because you're doing a lot with the thumbsticks, and it just that one corner it just compresses ever so slightly, and I don't know why that is or where it's from because it's tightly sealed everywhere. I don't know. So that's like what's going on? You know, you got to have a backup controller sometimes because like this thing's been through a lot already. But I mean, it's a good quality controller. I think it holds up nice. It feels still great. I think it's funny because I've always said how much I think it's dumb that we can't get past the GameCube controllers, but now I'm like seriously considering picking up a GameCube controller for Smash. I don't know why. And before it was like it seemed dumb, but now I'm just like, this is cool. I want to do it. Tom Servo commented in the chat that his kind of does that too on his Pro controller. So maybe it's some issue with like the first, like I didn't get the very first run because like those had that secret message or whatever you could reveal in the, if you moved the one of the thumbsticks, but so mine doesn't have that, but I have, probably one of the first runs of the system. And I'm interested, Lucas, because I agree with Tom as well that Joy-Cons are trash. So I'm interested in how much better your gameplay and experience is once you actually get a better controller. Because man, I hate those thumbs. I'm sorry, I know there's people that like the Joy-Cons, so I hate those thumbsticks.
Well, I have something when we get to what you plan. When I talk about my Shovel Knight experience, that I'm gonna make a note to remind myself to talk about.
It's not so much that the surface area of the thumb, the actual thumbstick itself is so bad, but just the range of motion on the analog is so, I don't know, it's so minimal. I just don't like it.
Yeah,
it
has a short throw instead of like with an Xbox controller. It's a little bit longer, so you have a little bit more range of motion before you hit the wall.
Like Donnie keeps telling me stories by he's got like the little covers that you snap over top of them, so it gives you a bigger surface area. Which I guess that might be one solution because I feel like these are really tiny for your thumb. Like I always have the problem where I don't get accuracy moving horizontally. Like I think I'm going straight left to right, but I'm going a little bit diagonal just because the size of the compared to my thumb.
Yeah.
You know, it's just naturally going to
Well,
happen, which
and
isn't a big deal except when you're playing a game like Celeste that requires precise input.
yeah, and I like the convex instead of concave. Like on the the Xbox One controller, one of them is like that, and I would rather put my thumb in a little nice Nest cup to control with.
Kind of similar to like what the 360 used to have.
Yeah,
yeah.
I like that a lot better.
Nice.
Plus, they slip too. They get really slippery. I know this is ridiculous, but it's true. They even if my hands are just slightly sweaty from just holding the Switch or anything, I find that my thumb will slide, like especially if I'm going up or down, it'll just slide along the thing.
Well,
very annoying.
I've had like for the first time in my life I ever had a part of my body that has gotten my skin's cracked from being too dry. Like one of my large toes has a spot where my skin actually split because like I'm guessing either the callus or whatever. So I've been using lotion a bit, and then I was trying to play last night, trying to play a Hollow Knight, and like my hands were just naturally sweaty because I was like doing these intense boss runs. But then my controller was just like I kept losing my grip on everything because it was a mess. It was a mess.
You were a hot mess, a sweaty hot mess.
Speaking of hot mess, how about we play an OC remix?
Okay,
let's take a break. Let's play an OC remix. We'll come back. I mean, this is what happens, guys, when I don't really plan out content very well for the show.
That's why I wrote Jason is stretching.
Yeah. I mean, at first I was like, well, you know, we'll just naturally evolve into some sort of conversation. And we never really got there. And I was like, well, I got to inflate the numbers on the show a little bit.
Well, and to be fair, we would have had a gaming episode, but with the mixer not quite knowing how it was going to go, I think we're just going to skip this week, this month.
Yeah, we really need like a weekend session to test that thoroughly before we before we move.
One of the reasons why that's going to be questionable is because my audio for the game and your voice comes through the same channel. So that's why we're definitely going to have to test it. It always seems as easy as just turning it on and doing it, but you know, we might get to that and then it turns out that, you know, it doesn't, it like crushes
we
your
got to
audio.
spend 45 minutes during the podcast to try to fix it. Nobody wants that.
Pretty much. That's usually what happens. That seems to be our MO as of late.
Yeah.
So
also tonight we need to pick we need to announce a Netflixation as well.
Tonight?
Oh God, there's not even a point, dude. Next week was when we'd have to do it. So I think we just skip Netflixation this month.
Oh, we're terrible.
We're bad. This whole thing. Yeah, this is like next week's the last week of the month. So that's when we would talk. Next Tuesday is when we would talk Netflixation. So literally no one's going to have a chance to watch it at all because by the time they listen to this podcast, it probably could be Thursday or Friday, and then boom.
I'll tell you what if we pick one now, we'll make it – hold on. It's supposed to be the last of the month?
We always do it the last episode of the month is when we did Netflixation.
Okay. Why don't we just make it the first of the month, and then we'll put the gaming episode somewhere else.
Okay.
So then we can at least – because I'd hate to skip it again. So at least we can pick one and
because nothing else, we'll skip gaming episode. That's not a big deal. So okay, we'll do that. Well, let's get OC Remix out of the way first, and then we'll do the other stuff.
Okay, it's what the old machine, the wheel of decisions has gotten for us is actually another Final Fantasy song. It's that Final Fantasy V one.
Gallup's World
by our girlfriend.
Well, it's kind of funny. I was listening to the OC Remix podcast today, and they mentioned like because she's like dominated the submission. She's had like 22 songs submitted since like January of 2017. So she's been cranking them out, and she has like either I can't remember if it was a Patreon goal or it was like Kickstarter or something like that. I think it must have been a Patreon goal that if it gets met, she'll live stream a Chrono Trigger concert. So I think that'd be actually
like a live concert.
Yeah, she would like stream. They would like perform like I'm assuming like the Chrono Trigger soundtrack or something and live stream it, which I think would be really cool.
You can do that.
So I feel bad. We kind of crapped out a couple of her songs pretty bad, but she does a really nice instrumental or symphonic. I think symphonic covers. This might be the one. I think I might have heard some of this one today. There's actually, that my backup for, OC remix. I just want to see if it's on this front page here. Yes. Um, that Ocarina of Time, Awakening of the Forest Sage.
Mm-hmm.
We won't play. Yeah, that's weird. Well, welcome back.
I don't know what the hell that was about.
But as I was saying, go to OC Remix and check out Awakening of the Forest Sage, because that's an awesome like rock, not progressive, but it's a really cool remix. So, but we are gonna play Rebecca's here, which again is Gallus World, comes from Final Fantasy V, released in 1992 on Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Again, music by Nobuo Uematsu. This is the remix of the song Unknown Lands. It's a ballad, symphonic, mellow. So what we'd come to expect from Rebecca's remixes. And if you like this remix, of course, you can find it and many, many more at ocremix.org. Lucas, are you ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready. You can push play and we'll go. We'll be back after this.
Okay. I'm pressing play, but nothing happened. What the heck? Oh. Apparently this decided to stop working, so let me just restart it really quick.
Well, since you guys can still hear me on the stream, I'll just this is a doomed episode. Apparently, nothing works right. This is Overclocked Remix. Lucas is doing some things here. We'll try again in a second. This is what you come to expect from Fluxtaposed. I know it. It's okay. Just accept it.
What the hell?
You want a premiere experience, you got to listen to another podcast. We're just going to be those two bumbling guys that make you think, you know what? Why do I listen to these guys? I can just make my own podcast and it'll be just as good. And you know what? You're probably right. But sometimes you just, it's like a train wreck and you just can't turn away and you just keep watching. Keep watching. For shame.
It's the
For shame.
It's the freaking app itself just decided that it doesn't want to play sound anymore because my sound is working just fine. We might have to skip this if it.
Well, we'll just put it in, fix it in post.
Oh,
right?
There we go. There we go.
Oh,
it's working now. Good Lord. It's almost like we don't run on professional equipment here. All right, let's try this again.
All right.
Okay, it's playing, but now it won't play. Oh my God. There we go. Okay. All right, we're going now. OC Remix. Yes.
I'm never sure when the remix is over, so
It's over when I say it's over.
you might have to give me a little visual cue because sometimes on my side I get like, well, especially when the songs fade down, I'll get
Oh,
and so it's hard to tell.
I got you.
The joys of compromise and technology, my friends. The joys of compromise and technology. So, you know, maybe I should have been better to keep the runtime tight on this one because we had a plague of issues tonight. And our buddy Jared just sent me a picture of a 48 pack of Kirkland Light.
Oh, yes. Don't drink water.
Fish piss in it.
That's right.
So before something else goes wrong, let's get into some what you playing.
Apparently this can only play one song and then not fuck up.
You get sorry guys. You don't.
I want people to know I'm pressing the buttons on here and it's just not doing anything. Looks like we'll be using a new program.
Yeah. Program or a bad connection, who knows? Oh well, that's
all
all.
Of them.
That's all the thing.
Okay, go there.
That's right. Sean does that for me every time. And if we're in Nintendo, Sean does it perfect. He'll do okay, go, and then he'll purposely do 2 or 3 more because
Thank you, Wonder Man. Oh, other ones? Okay.
Yeah, because it never stops when you try it when you want it to.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, damn it! Gosh, I guess you get 2 now.
Exactly. That's exactly.
I love it. It's all true. Everything you've heard. All of it.
But yeah, so what you playing? For me, dabbled in the Fortnites when that came out. I've been playing that. I think you started watching this as well, didn't you? The Staircase?
I haven't. Yeah, we're only about halfway in the first episode. We're going to continue this week, actually. Okay.
Yeah, we just finished the 4th episode tonight. There's 13. What I like about it that I haven't seen in other crime docu-series is that this gives you a bunch of like the steps in the process of the pre-trial process, like getting coaching and how to present yourself on the stand, like mock jury interviews and stuff like that, like a lot of stuff that you don't see before. And like we just watched like preparing for opening statements and the first day of the trial, so that's where it's at right now. For on episode 4, it's a really interesting case, and I don't know anything about it
me
at all besides what the trailer shows you. So I'm interested to see how it is. It's really good. I know it's not new. The original series aired quite a while ago, but they did add 3 new episodes on this for Netflix. So I'm looking forward to the journey to watch that through to its completion. And then my main time sink as of late has been Hollow Knight. And this was a game that, Donnie had been waiting to come to Switch forever. It was like, couldn't wait for Hollow Knight. And then they surprise released it on during Nintendo's E3 presentation. And I was just like, should I get it, Donnie? And I was like, well, I've got $16 in credit. Okay. Because it's $14.99 on the eShop. So I got it, for everything I had.
That's not bad.
And I think the game is underpriced at $15 because
really,
I think it's a great game. I don't know what it is. I mean, it's been available on other platforms. I'm sure it's a lot cheaper on Steam, but I think I would pay at least $20 for this. I don't know what it is about it because I'm not a huge Metroidvania. I hate using that term, but I don't really typically play a lot of those. I don't think I'm a huge enjoyer of that style, but I mean, I did enjoy SteamWorld Dig and Dig 2. I did enjoy Metroid Samus Returns, and what I played, Guacamelee. I've played quite a few, but this is just, I don't know what it is about this game. Like the animation is awesome. Like the hand-drawn, I think it's hand-drawn art, looks great. It's really dark. It's got like this almost a macabre gothic tone to its scenario, its setting. Almost in some areas, like there's this location almost today was very Geiger-esque.
Oh,
and it's
that's always cool.
Like the chunky, like the weird like look of the objects.
Everything's a penis.
Yes, the game, like the story doesn't really make a lot of sense, but it's not really the point because it's not. It's just place setting. You know, really, it doesn't like affect
It's a
the way the
vehicle
gameplay
for
is. But
what
yeah,
you're doing.
yeah, and I don't know what it is, but I'm just like driven to like not so much like I'm exploring every nook and cranny, but I like want to go to any part of the map that I haven't been to yet. I think I've just now unlocked and here I'll show you. I think I just now unlocked all the areas. And I just want to show you how big this freaking map is in the game.
You just reminded me to grab my Switch, actually.
Let's see here. I'm gonna pull it up here on the screen once you get back.
Pull it up. Yeah. I'm back.
Okay. So I don't know how well this will show up because everything like on this screen here, everything you're gonna get the glare. Everything's like dimmed.
I only see myself. Oh, I can kind of see now. Yeah.
Everything's like
holy cow.
This is the whole map here. That's all the areas.
Man, I thought that what was that one puzzle game, the side-scrolling one where you had to like you zap clones of yourself. You make little clones of yourself.
Oh gosh, it was Stealth Inc.
No,
is what it was called on.
No, the other one.
Oh, the Swapper.
The Swapper, yes. I thought that was big, but that looks absolutely ginormous.
Oh, well, here's the other part here. I didn't scroll it, so it gets better, Lucas.
Oh, so Lord.
All of that.
And yet you can't walk around Skyrim for more than 10 minutes.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like, I mean, I have some issues because, like, one thing about this game that from others of the style is, like, a lot of the map, like, you don't just get to move and the map reveals itself. Like, you go into an area and you don't have a map and you just wander. And eventually you'll run into a guy that is, like, a cartographer. And he's like, oh, I've been charting this area. And you can buy a map off him. And then you get the map.
Whoa.
But then again, you have the map and it'll have the general outline, but there'll still be sections that he hasn't been to. So those aren't charted. So you have to get an item like a pen and quill.
Would you say they're uncharted?
Yes. And then once you get that, once you explore new areas and you get back to like the save spots are a bench, you'll get healed and you'll rest. Your map will update. So it's not until you actually make it to one of those save points that the parts that you've explored actually are revealed.
Show up on the map. So, holy cow!
Yeah. So you do a lot of blind exploration, a lot of kind of back and forth, and there is a fast travel system, but you got to unlock those and find them, and you're still having to traverse a lot of terrain anyway. So I feel like there's a lot of time is sunk right into that, and I'm getting my Discord DMs are blowing up. So excuse me 1 second. I'm going to mute that right now because I'm tired of it.
Probably just Caro and Donnie talking about Xenoblade Chronicles some more. Holy God.
So I didn't miss anything today.
Burn.
I don't know what it is, guys. I really don't know what it is about this game. I've really just loved it. Like the enemies are all unique. They're not a challenge, but there's a lot of bosses. And when I say bosses, there's I would say just like middle tier enemies that are kind of a boss, and because they'll have a unique name and you'll get a reward for killing them. And then there's actual bosses that are a challenge, and then there's like optional versions of the bosses that are in the spirit form that you can fight too for collectibles that are even harder. Like they're like a harder version of the boss you just beat, and it's just like, man, like I fought one last night there was a series of, well, I don't even want to say it because I don't want to spoil it for people. There was a couple bosses I didn't think I spent probably 30-40 minutes, you know, just dying, live, die, repeat, to quote that, just fighting the same boss. But I'm like, I gotta do it, you know. And now there's a section I'm at, it's a Coliseum, and there's a series of challenging like enemy encounters and you to get rewards and unlocks. I've cleared the first two and I'm on the hardest, and finally I was just like, I don't have the right upgrades yet. So I like went around, and I think I'm at the point now where like I've gotten all my abilities, I've got every item. So I'm getting there. I'm getting close to the end. But there's the cool thing that this game does. You get badges, and those are kind of like perks.
Badges?
So they do, yeah, badges. So
they do like badges.
They do things like you have a badge that makes you show up on the mini map. So that's optional. Don't have to equip it. Takes up one slot. So you start out with 3 badge slots, and then you can upgrade more. And different badges one takes up 1 slot, one takes up 2, one takes up 3. Depending on what the badge does. So you can customize your loadout, you know, in a way to speak. Like I have one that increases the range of my weapon. um, different properties like that that affect how your character plays. So that's kind of cool. It's a way to customize, and like definitely for harder sections, I've had to go a little more defensive to give myself a little more staying power. So it's just a unique game. So like you have life, and as you get hit, but as you damage enemies, you generate I think it's soul is that what it's called in the game, and that's like your
Okay.
magic essentially. So
Hmm.
you can heal yourself. You have some abilities, some skills that use that require that. So you have to like kill and damage enemies to charge it up. So it's kind of cool that you can heal anytime on the fly, but to heal, you have your stationary. You have to charge it. It has like a casting time, and so you're vulnerable. So it's the risk reward to try to get it. And usually during a boss fight, they'll have after you do so much damage, they get knocked down for
Yeah.
momentary. So that's like a moment where you can quickly heal. So it's like the timing of that. But I don't know. I can't like quite answer what it is about this game, but I mean, I've been like driven by it like the past week. I've sunk all. I think I've at like 15 hours. Last time I looked, I was at 15 hours of my
Damn.
game time, and
That's funny.
a lot of that was during Father's Day weekend because my wife and
Oh,
her mother-in-law, my mother-in-law, were watching they were watching shows together because my brother-in-law was there too, and he was watching stuff downstairs. But I wanted to hang out with everyone, and Jess like, you can play your Switch if you want. I'm like, don't mind if I do.
you got the look and the nod, and you were like, "I'm
That's
off."
right. I'm off. So and then I've been playing on my lunch break at work too. So I mean, that's how
That's how
that's
you
worked.
roll.
But yeah, so I mean, I can't recommend it enough for $15. I think it's a steal. Now, unfortunately, Donnie has gotten to a boss that he can't get past, and Donnie is like where it's spaced out with his save point. He's got to like go through a bunch of enemies to get back there and just to get killed again. So it's just like I don't
Hmm.
have time. I don't
You
have the time for this. So
you know what that sounds
he's
like? Dark Souls.
yeah. So he's unfortunately putting the game aside for a while because there's too much else to play for him, and I feel bad because this is a game he really wanted to play. So like I think it's really rewarding to overcome the challenge that it has, and
Not for him. He just wants it. He's smooth and easy, like creamy peanut butter.
so it's a little sad that he'll be moving on from it, but I can't wait to finish it off. And I've heard the rumor that there's multiple endings too, so hopefully I get the good one.
What?
And that's it for me, man. Good
Wow.
old. It's not Hollow Knight after all. It's full of goodness.
I would not have expected you to like this game based on what you described to me.
It's weird. Certain games, just like especially like I feel like if they're at harder difficulty or challenging, like this one, it does a really good job of rewarding you like for hunting and like getting unlockables and things like that. Like usually, like when it's an option to like get upgrades and things like that nature, I don't usually do it.
Mm-hmm.
But in this one, I like for instance, there's like these little what do I call them? Like centipede, not even centipede, like caterpillar creatures that they're like little children and they've been trapped in jars throughout the level, and you can find them, and then when you rescue them, they go back to their father. I can assume he's in this cavern, and there's literally just like hundreds of empty spots where these children would be.
Oh,
So
wow.
they pop up there as you rescue them. So if you as you get so many, he gives you money that you can spend on items, or like he'll give you like a unique badge. So I
There's
don't think I'm
actually
going
a
to get all.
reason
I
to do
don't
it.
think I'm going to get all of those.
Right.
But I've got a ton. But I wonder what you actually get for doing that. But usually I'm not one. It's not like I'm going to sit here and go I got 100% this game.
Right.
I don't have that dedication. But I've done a lot. I've
You
done a
should
lot.
just quit right in the middle of it, like somebody I know. I'm just kidding.
Yikes.
Giving them the hard time. Speaking of hard times, Shovel Knight.
Ooh.
I beat it. The main campaign, as it were.
Oh, nice.
Yep. I fought the evil enchantress or whatever her name is.
She was tough.
She was
That's a tough
not.
fight.
Yes, especially the first part was bad enough where you're on kind of in the middle of that, or she's either on the top or the bottom of like this band of blocks that you can stand on, and she starts like breaking them, and you have to move around. And I hate any level like that where there's insta death at the bottom.
Yeah.
Polar Knight was like that too with the spikes, but then
Hey, you know what makes her worse? Imagine fighting her now as Plague Knight.
I have not played as Plague Knight, but I can only imagine. because he's the one with the bomb, the poison bomb, or
Yeah.
the
Yep. Yep.
concoctions. So I thought that was bad, but then you get Shield Knight back and have to fight the pure evil or whatever that was residing within her. And that sucked because you have to jump off from Shovel Knight's, or I mean, Shield Knight's. She jumps up and like puts her shield up, and it took me like 5 times to figure out what the hell I was supposed to do because I was doing it, but I couldn't reach the hitbox of the boss, which is of course the face and head region. And so I was confused because I'm like, I'm doing the right thing, but for some reason I'm not able to get a hit off. And it turned out you can only jump from there's like 2 levels to the stage, and you can only jump from the higher pillars to get high enough to even hit the boss. So that was, I probably had to fight her. Gosh, I don't know how many times.
Yeah, you definitely have to learn like the mechanics and the systems there, and then once you do, like it's crazy how like once things click. Because I remember struggling on jumping off Shield Knight. I was like, I can't do this, and then finally it clicks, and you're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and then once you get that down, then you have to learn the pattern and the freaking thingies that she shoots 2 little like spark balls or something, and they kind of do that thing where they do like a helix pattern where they shoot out sideways and then come back in together and then shoot out on the other side, and so you're jumping over them multiple times, but then she shoots multiple ones out. I don't know how I survived. And the other reason why I don't know how I survived was not just because it was tough, but because I was using the Joy-Con controllers and playing in handheld mode. And the thing about the Joy-Con controllers and in this game is you can press up in the attack button to use your power, whatever you have equipped. And I was doing that accidentally all the time when I was trying to hit her.
Yeah. I played this game a bit in handheld too, and I couldn't use the analog sticks. I had to use the buttons.
The buttons. I couldn't do that either. That was actually because I used the analog stick so much, it was almost foreign for me to try to use the D-pad because, like you said, it's not a D-pad. It's buttons that have space in between them, and I could not do that. The amount of time it takes me to reach. I know it's going to sound ridiculous, but the amount of time it takes me to reach from one like up to down or left to right or whatever, it didn't feel natural as it does on a D-pad. So it was frustrating to try to hit her and then have my invulnerability thing go off, which means I can't hit her at all. So I had to switch between powers. I got all the powers and everything though, and
are you gonna do the challenge mode?
I looked at it. I probably will do some of them. I don't know if I'll do all of them, but you have to. Fun. The first one I looked at was surviving an unending wave of mechanical rats or whatever, or gyro rats or something, which are annoying, but I'm sure it's doable. So I lost 152 lives during the course of the game. I played for about 7 hours and 40 minutes.
Ooh,
at 72% completion.
I was gonna pull mine up and see what that was at, but then I'm not at the save point in Hollow Knight, so I can't do that.
I would do that with this game. I would put it in standby mode, pick it up later to play Stardew, and then be like, oh, I have to beat this Shovel Knight level before I can do anything else.
Yep.
So, but anyways, I plan on playing the rest of it because I was surprised at how it felt really short. So, I will probably be playing, the New Game Plus or the Plague Knight and the other one, Scythe Knight. I don't know. I don't remember. Spectre. Thank you. Cool guy.
Spectre Torment. That is a phenomenal game. Like I enjoyed Plague Knight. Like at first I hated it, but I'm glad I played because it does have kind of a cool story. But definitely with Spectre of Torment, it's amazing. How much better their storytelling has gotten, like how much they're like you've put like Plague of Shadows is essentially a reskinned version of Shovel Knight, and where in Spectre of Torment actually own unique it's because and Plague of Shadows you're doing the same thing, like the whole Mario 3 board layout, connected levels, it's all that again, but Spectre of Torment's like completely different. it's
Interesting.
crazy how like it's much improved. Like it actually does a really good job of telling the story to the game and making you experience it. It's I liked it.
They have
It's
a
good.
couple
It's
of.
very good.
They have at least one more thing to release,
One
right?
more.
Something about the
Yep,
king.
one more. Yep, King of Cards.
Okay.
It's King Knight, so you get to play as him.
I like King Knight. I like
And
all
then
of them, honestly.
that's it. Yeah, the knights are all really cool. What did you think of the? I refer to it as like Lockham robots, the racing. Maybe next week we go back to Discord.
Something. I don't know. I was looking at my internet to see if it dropped out or not. I don't know. It could be a lot of different things.
The stream I think paused for a second, but it came right back up. So for time's sake, I'm not going to ask you more about Shovel Knight, and I'll let you keep going.
Okay. Tinker Knight was what you were talking about, by the way.
Yeah, yep.
Fallout New Vegas. I am way past the part that where I felt like I was just walking around. You know, like I said, it was a walking simulator. Go to this town. Go to this town. Trying to find the guy who shot you in the head at the beginning of the game. So that part's done with. Now I'm at the part where I have a bunch of quests to do, and they all kind of run into each other. And I'm in Vegas, as it were. And I remember that's about as far as I got when I played it the first time. But I didn't really delve too deeply into what was going on in Vegas. So I'll try to do it as spoiler free as possible. But there are multiple gangs that came to New Vegas or were brought to New Vegas by a person called Mr. House. And now they all have like their own casino and their own, basically they act like gangs or families. And they all run something on the Strip. And so you're kind of going through them and talking to them and trying to figure out like who you don't like, doing favors for them, what their stories are. I did the Honest Hearts DLC because I got to this point where everything I built myself as kind of doing like speech, barter, repair, and science. So less of a shooty guy and more of a problem solver. And I got to this point where everything was kind of like above my level to actually use those skills, because it'll show you like, oh, you've got 43 out of 50 needed in bartering or something like that. So I knew I was close. So I'd go through and try to find stuff where I could just easily gain some levels and level those skills up. So I did one of the DLCs that I hadn't done called Honest Hearts, and that was it was okay. It was interesting, but kind of an aside to what was going on in the rest of the game. Didn't really. It was only really connected by the fact that it was an ex-general of one of the really horrible factions inside the main game. So you kind of learn more about that. But other than that, the whole story had really nothing to do with the rest of the game. But it served my purpose of just leveling myself up a little bit more. So I got that out of the way. But one of the problems I'm running into with this now is that it's constantly crashing. I can play one time without a problem, and then I'll play it again. And I find it happens when I turn around frequently. I'll turn behind me to see my companion or something like that, make sure they're following me. And it'll crash without even or it'll freeze without even this has crashed, something unexpected has happened, error.
Error.
And
That's
I had
weird.
It is weird. And I had a really dumb thing happen in VATS where I opened it up, and every once in a while it'll take a second to show me the numbers. It calculates your percentage of hitting a certain body part, and every once in a while it will take an extraordinarily long amount of time to figure that out for some reason. So you're just kind of sitting there waiting for it to come up. And one time I opened VATS and I was fighting a dog, and it had me cornered, and it was running at me really quickly, and nothing happened. It never popped up. Like, it went in slow motion, but the whole menu never even came up. So I just sat there and waited and finally had to exit out of it because nothing was happening, but I was getting hit because it still happens in slow motion, so you still can get hurt. So I was like, what the hell's going on? So I look at this, and it turns out that apparently this game does have bugs and everything in it, pretty notoriously. And I'm just like, what is the deal with just bringing these games over to PC and I don't know, like porting them, I guess, without really doing any
It's
bug checking. It's
it's
the
like
PC
it's just
plight.
half-assed. It feels like.
Yeah, and I I'm having a lot of fun with it, but it's really frustrating because I was doing a quest just before earlier today, and I could almost reliably make an error occur, and it's just getting obnoxious. And so, yeah, I mean, it is an older Bethesda game too, so it's probably not really um, fair to say, but they definitely had some problems back in the day with, because this is probably around the time of Oblivion as well.
Okay.
So, um,
It's funny you bring that up. I just want to jump in here. Is like, and I think that's what will give some people a bad taste of PC gaming is because they might gravitate to a game like that because they played it on a console and like, oh, I want to play that on PC because it's probably a better experience. And then they get a haphazard, port like that,
yeah,
and they'll be like, oh wow, this sucks. Why would I want to play this again?
yeah. Well, it makes it hard to argue. Like, yeah, you should be playing it on PC. I don't think so. Maybe not. So it's unfortunate, but hopefully I can. I've been looking into fixing it. There are people who've done unofficial patches and that type of thing to mod the game and make it work better. But it's like, I guess if you're rushing a game out to get it done, then that's what happens. And then weirdly enough, we played a board game, Jason,
Oh,
over the
what?
weekend, but it's not one that you think it's going to be. We played Monopoly.
Oh gosh.
But it wasn't any Monopoly, Jason. It was the Monopoly that has the debit cards, and you instead of keeping track of all the paper money, you have a debit card that gets loaded with basically a calculator that you put the cards in, and you're able to just type in the transaction of some sort. So the banker is doing all that, and the board is different. It has real life locations and airports, and the utilities are slightly different as well. And the cost of everything is in the millions now. So you have like something will be 2.3 million or something. It sounded weird at first, but really it wasn't really that hard because most of the time it was 400,000 or 1 million or whatever. And with doing it on the debit card, it was easy to do transactions and stuff. But what we found was the game ends up, you're just kind of waiting for the banker to do the banker was doing everything. Banker gets to type in all the money and everything, and you're just kind of waiting for every transaction, because the problem with the debit card system is that every time you pass go, every time you have to pay something, every time you make a trade with somebody, every time you have to pay somebody for their rent, you're constantly giving out your debit card. And once all of the or most of the properties are sold, it's literally just a line of debit cards waiting to be swiped, it feels like. So you're sitting here like doing nothing really. And I don't know. I think it kind of detracted from the game. It was nice not to have to deal with paper money, but at the same time, I always was asking how much money I had on my card, because I didn't want to have to keep a running total and balance my checkbook and, do all that stuff.
That stinks. Oh.
Yeah. Well, I ended up winning, so I guess I can't complain too much.
I guess there's that.
But it was fun. It was one of those times where you're just like, we can quit whenever, but I'm okay if we keep playing, that type of thing. Everyone was just kind of ambivalent about the whole thing. So, and then lastly, I watched a thing.
I've watched this.
I was not expecting to enjoy it, but I ended up finding it quite captivating. It helps, of course, that I am somewhat familiar. Well, yes, the random boobs definitely help. But 70s boobs, I might add. But it also helps that I'm somewhat familiar with the industry. So the movie, the documentary on Netflix is called Electric Boogaloo, which it's funny because Mike and I always have that dumb joke where anything that's number 2, we always say Electric Boogaloo because it rhymes. And it's a real movie. I guess I never realized that. But it's Electric Boogaloo, the wild, untold story of Canon Films. Now, I remember their logo, but I never remembered their actual films until I realized they did some of the most over-the-top, ridiculous action movies that I have heard of, like Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone, where you're arm wrestling. Yeah, Delta Force. Um,
Uh, gosh, the Charleston one.
oh, Death
God,
Wish. Uh,
Death Wish
2,
2.
3, 4, 5, keeps going. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, I believe. Uh, Life Force, which I remember seeing the cover for but never watched, and it's a good thing because I'm pretty sure I was like 12 when I saw that, and it's just a naked woman walking around for most of the movie, so that would have been interesting to watch with the old parents. But the fly by the seat of their pants business model of just like making as many films as cheaply as they can, just to and then just being like, well, the next ones that we have coming up are going to be the good ones. You know, it's unfortunate that nobody likes these, but we've got some coming on the way that are even better than these, and they're going to win an Oscar or whatever. And you know, they're all being made up on the spot by this one guy who they both come from
Yes.
Israel, I think it was.
I believe so.
And you know, they're only familiar with the American culture through the movies that came there from America. And so they have like this very naive, almost childish way of looking at movies where you can just kind of make whatever sounds good to you at the time. It doesn't have to make sense from a story perspective. You can just, you know, wouldn't it be cool if there was an American ninja that, you know, knows karate or whatever and can fight some evil Asian looking people that are ninjas, I guess. I don't know. It all gets made up on the spot and none of it really makes sense. And it's just crazy that they were able to go for so long and have that business model where people were treated like garbage on set, and honestly not much really has changed today. So as far as I can tell. So but yeah, it's just interesting to watch. It's a little bit long in the tooth. It's like 2 hours long. So I watched it in multiple sittings, but there are a lot of boobs. There definitely are a lot of boobs in that movie. Or in that documentary, because of all the exploitation films they made, and they'd constantly be talking about how they need more nakedness in the movie and everything. So it was just kind of fascinating. Yeah, no kidding. That was pretty much their motive, was what was the next thing we can sell, even though they were constantly talking about how all they cared about were making movies. But seemed more like it was all they cared about was making money. So glad I watched it. It was pretty interesting. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. So I would definitely recommend it to anybody who is either one, has fond memories of those old movies, or two, has any interest in filmmaking, or, you know, that filmmaking business in Hollywood and everything, because it is quite enlightening, to be sure. So at least in the 80s and 70s and 80s atmosphere. So. Or era.
Yeah.
So that was everything.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
Dude, it's totally up your alley, Servo. You'll like it. You should watch it. Awesome. Well, let's roll through the grab bag real quick. Dan Anthony does not disappoint with another disgusting headline ripped straight from the headlines.
From Satan's asshole.
Right? This comes from Vice News. This guy served his friends tacos made from his own amputated leg. And the quote is, "One friend had to spit me into a napkin," which is kind of funny because it was how perfect this would have been if I was talking about that documentary I watched on Netflix when those guys were fighting over that guy's severed leg.
Ugh, yeah, no kidding. That would have been good timing.
So long story short, this guy got, had a bad accident, had to have a leg, was a limb amputated, his leg or foot or whatever.
I looked at the pictures because you had said, why did I click on the pictures?
Oh, I looked at the pictures.
Oh my God. The accident, the wound from the accident.
Yeah, don't look at the pictures if you don't want to see gore, because they are
It is one of the worst things I've seen, and I've seen some really bad stuff.
It's pretty graphic.
It's pretty graphic. He had a mouth where his like ankle should have been. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
There were bones missing from his body. That can only happen one way.
So essentially, he had some friends over and he cooked himself up into tacos and served it to his friends. I don't know if they were told. He says that they were all open-minded. So I don't think he revealed to them until like after they actually ate it what they were eating.
No. He asked 11 friends and 10 of them agreed.
Oh, okay. So they knew. Okay, so they knew about it.
Yes,
Yeah,
they
so
did know
I
about
think
it.
I
That would
think
be a
that'd be the one.
horrible, horrible thing to do to somebody.
I don't know. Here's the debate. Try would you try to eat human
Fuck
flesh?
no, never. I say that with a hard F word because this is the most disgusting thing. I got sick just reading it.
Like in my head, I could wrap my brain around it, but I don't think I could ingest it. I think my subconscious and everything else would just not allow that to happen.
I think that's one of the highest forms of taboo that I can think of. And I'm pretty open-minded, but that is wrong.
So this begs the question, Dan, how the hell do you come up with all this stuff? What I want, like, what is your social media, like, what are you following on social media, or what keywords are you searching?
I feel like, and I was kind of surprised it was on Vice, because I feel like that's typically not on there, that type of thing, but maybe it is. I don't know, but it was gory and it was gross, and that meat looked disgusting. Even when it was cooked, it looked horrible. and I remember the quote where the guy was like, the taste wasn't that bad, but the quality of the meat was not great. Basically, the experience of eating the meat was not good, but I think they said it tasted like gamey boar.
Let's face it. I mean, every animal has a better section of the body. You prefer spot to have the meat.
The foot.
So I don't think the foot is probably.
If he lost like his butt, like a butt cheek, that probably would have been pretty good. You know, not a foot though.
Probably a thigh. Good.
Too much muscle though. I guess all meat's kind of a muscle, but I would assume it's
butt's
grisly.
Gonna be, I don't
fatty.
Know what most.
I don't know. I'll have to find a cannibal and ask him what the best cut of a human being is. No, never in my life. If somebody, I don't even know if I could be friends with.
Rump roast.
God, well, that's different. I don't think I could be friends with the person who said that to me. You know what I mean? Like, hey man, do you want to try some of this human flesh I have lying around? What? No.
You want to try my roasted chestnuts?
Gross. Crunchy.
Disgusting. Well, on that note.
Yes, can we leave now so I can go throw up?
Let's be done. I'm a little nauseous talking about it. I'm sure our internet's about to go down again.
Oh my god.
Mixer's about to go down.
I hit two things at the same time and I stopped them both. So I guess this is, even though it's not playing, it's still playing. Play is now stopped. There we go.
We need a new app. That is going to do it for this episode of Fluxtaposed. If you want to support the shit show, check out patreon.com/Fluxtaposed so you can be like all of our patrons. But special thanks to our operators of Boston, Sean Capri, Edward Cal, Tyler Roland, Nathan Horton, Executors of Excellence, Josh Rabone, Dan Anthony, Sir Renee. Thank you guys. Aren't you proud of yourselves? Not entertained? Are you not entertained? Anywho, as always, on behalf of myself and Luke for watching, thank you for listening. Tell a friend. We'll make it better next week. And we didn't pick a Netflixation, so we will just put that in social media. We'll do it.
Do it live. Wait, we won't do it live.
Okay. Bye-bye. Goodbye. See ya.